it's not always nurturing them in that way, right? It's sort of, I think it has to do a lot with allowing them to feel, not controlling their lives, but allowing them to feel. So, rather than running in and trying to take all their hurt away, is helping them sit in that failure, sit in that hurt, in that pain, and allow them, give them the encouraging words until they're able to say it to themselves that you are okay. You are okay in this moment. You are fine. You will be okay. It does hurt right now, but the hurt will dissipate. Welcome to I Think I Can podcast. My name is Luella Young. I am a woman who believes that we, like wine, get better with age. Age brings us wisdom, intuition, and a level of sophistication that is beyond the reach of youth. I am here to tell you that living a luxuriously rich and fulfilling life is in your reach. I Think I Can podcast will teach you to think differently in order to get different results. Allow me to show you how to do life effortlessly. This podcast is for the woman who is tired of playing by the rules of society, community, religion, parents, and partners. I Think I Can is all about becoming brave, authentic, purposeful, and strong. Listen weekly and you will find yourself living a life you could have only once dreamed of. Thoughts drive our physiology, so channel your thoughts with me into a life truly worth living. Enjoy the show. Hi, so today I'd like to speak to you about a very simple topic. When you think of it, it's the most simplest of topics I think there is. And that is, why is it so difficult to believe in yourself? And I mean, this can span across so many different areas in your life, right? Whether that's believing that you can get that career that you always dreamed of, whether it is having the body that you always longed for, whether it is attaining the most amazing relationship that you can imagine. For some reason, it seems very difficult to believe that that can actually happen for you. So, and I wanted to say that this is different. To me, it's different than confidence, because I think there's a fair number of very confident people out there. I think a lot of people would claim that they're very confident. Um, but I don't think they can claim that they're confident across all areas of their life. That's one thing I have noticed, is that I can have very confident people coming in to my world, but to say that they're confident in every area of their life is quite different. And sometimes I use that as a bridge towards getting them more confident in a certain area. So if they're very confident about their work, why can't they be confident in terms of attaining the relationship of their dreams, or even being in a relationship? So that, to me, stems from a deeper look at yourself, and that to me is where belief comes and plays a part in this. I mean, when we're talking to, let's say, your friend, a neighbor, your child, you are able to believe in them, right? Like you have um a really good idea whether or not this person could actually attain whatever it is that they're desiring in their life. It seems so difficult to believe in your friend, and you're the best, you're their cheerleader. You can do it. I know you can do it. And despite all that cheerleading, they just don't go for it. Because why? Why is it that you feel that your friend can't go after what they long for? Why is it that you can't reach out for what you truly desire? And s- e- even when it comes to an addiction, right? Like, I think that's another great example. E- When I work with people who have are struggling with addictions, it's it's so in their mind, it seems, when they use logic in terms of, you know, I know this is bad for me. I know that I cannot continue to do this. I know that it's ruining my family. I know that it's ruining my relationships. I know that financially I can't even maintain this anymore. I know, functionally in my work, I can't continue to do this. I know that I need to stop. I know that my health is deteriorating every single day. Despite all the knowing, all the logic, they still cannot do this. And I understand that there's a certain physiological component in this as well, that they because they believe that they can't do it on their own, because of, I think, mainly the physiological side effects that come off of, if it's an actual drug, the physiological side effects of ceasing that drug is sometimes maybe just too much for someone to endure on their own, and therefore they may need to go into a rehab center so they can have the 24-hour support to do that. But if it's a behavior change, so whether that's a gambling addiction, or well, I'm not going to go into all the different behaviors, but that to me is more of a belief that they cannot do this. So it's such a simple thing to say that, and it's to say that I believe in myself, but deep down inside, the reason why we cannot achieve the desires that we want in life, the someday I want a beautiful house on the beach. Someday I want to, live in a different country. Someday I want to have the relationship of my dream. Someday, but to believe that they're going to actually have that, or that they could have that, is a whole different story. Um, One of the reasons I feel that it's so difficult is that it's the fear of failure is one of the main reasons. Because if they try to make a step or a move towards that goal and they fail, they are very scared of what that might look like, right? So let's take the career move, stepping into their boss's office and saying, I believe in my worth. I'm worthy of a higher paying salary, and they can have all the accolades they want behind that. They're the fear that their boss is going to perhaps look at them and go, "Are you kidding me?" No, and actually, to be honest with you, you shouldn't even be here in the first place, and you know, we're releasing you tomorrow. That's sort of a bit of the imposter syndrome coming in to play with that as well. So that's one example of it. But like another fear would be, any sporting event as well, or, being the dream hockey player, or winning, winning, I don't know, some sporting event. It's just, it's all comes down to believing. And like, if I go for it, and if I really go for it, and I do all the training, if I do all the sports psychology behind it, you know, will I be able to actually obtain that? And they're scared that with all that effort, all the money that goes behind any one of these desires as well is huge, right? Like whether it's a financial risk, whether that's all the training, all the money that goes into training for this, um, or something just as simplistic as nailing a grade 12 test that you've been studying for, that's you feel you want to get into university or something like that. I mean, it's actually believing in yourself. It always comes down to believing in yourself. So again, this can be very different than confidence. I think you can have confidence and belief in yourself, but you can have confidence alone as well in some ways, because it's just like a certain belief in a certain area, but it's not in all areas of your life. Very few people have a very general, like, belief in themselves, because if you truly believe in yourself, it really means you can attain anything. If you trust and have the faith in yourself, it just tr- it just bubbles over to all areas of your life. Um, and again, very few people that I can even think of have that, where they feel very fulfilled and have attained, the relationship of their dream, the career of their dream, um, their health. Really, to me, those are the three, pillars of life that we're all really striving towards. That they have great relationships, they have, so much fulfillment in their careers, and a huge passion towards what they want to do. But while maintaining their health throughout that, it it seems almost impossible. But it comes down to a really strong foundation of yourself. And that's, to me, like, when we're in our childhood, it really begins in our childhood. Because what do we always hear, right? What's something that I always preach? It's sort of these limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves that stop us in our tracks, stop us from starting, take us out at the knees as soon as we even think of maybe trying to do something. We have this belief about ourselves that, that is not attainable to me. And it's those limiting beliefs So so the strong foundation as a child, um, and this does not all, I think a lot of parents think, uh, it's sort of building your child up in terms of, again, confidence. It's sort of like, oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But it's it's not always nurturing them in that way, right? It's sort of, I think it has to do a lot with allowing them to feel, not controlling their lives, but allowing them to fail. So, rather than running in and trying to take all their hurt away, is helping them sit in that failure, sit in that hurt, in that pain, and allow them, give them the encouraging words until they're able to say it to themselves that you are okay. You are okay in this moment. You are fine. You will be okay. It does hurt right now, but the hurt will dissipate. The hurt will go away. I mean, we can even talk about that in terms of losing a loved one. Like, how can you prepare anybody for losing a loved one in their life? The pain is excruciating. It makes no sense why anyone has to go through that. Like, uh, as a human being, why do we have to go through that? Why does our heart have to be ripped apart, broken, shattered? The pain is so deep. But I truly, truly believe that there is a lesson in that. It's to be able to sit with that pain and still know that you're going to be okay, that you still have your health, you still have your relationships, you still have the things that you're passionate about, and that you will be okay. And by going more towards gratitude in those moments, rather than focusing on what you don't have, that's the secret sauce. That's that, like I say, it's showing that, oh my gosh, I lived through this, and I didn't, I didn't implode. I didn't perish. I'm actually still here, and I'm standing on 2 feet. And it's throughout those really difficult times that we realize, one, what's most important to us in our life, but two is that we lived through it. And if I can get through that, then I can get through many, many other things. So if you're challenged with believing in yourself, realize that all you have to do is sort of get into this, mm, you know energy of, i I desire this maybe huge goal, but what's something that I can sort of like energetically align to or match up with. So an example would be, okay, so I want to be, um you know be president of this company, for lack of a better thought coming to me right now. You can either decide to, give up that goal and not believe in yourself right at this moment, or you can decide what that might like. It all starts with belief. It all starts with the belief. It's, I guess it's sort of the genesis of my podcast here too. I think I can. Well, you think about it, it's a thought, what could I do in order to become president, for example? And then after you have the thought gives you a feeling. So the feeling behind that thought can be really one or two things. I think I can. I believe I can. Uh, and what are the next steps that I can sort of get behind on my way there? But you can think of the steps and you can do the steps, but unless you actually, truly, honestly, deeply, wholeheartedly believe that you can do that, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work at it, chances are of you obtaining that next step are very low. It's the belief and the feeling that counts. So that's why I often say we got to start small. We have to make smaller steps here because you might not be able to get behind the belief of being the president, because that just might seem like that's out in the like, whoa, that's way out there. There's absolutely no way. So therefore you don't have the feeling for that. But what's a little step that you can do towards getting that long-term goal? And if you are able to get the belief and the feeling behind that little step, I know I could reach that. And here are the action steps that I need to do that. But also knowing that if you put a timeline on it, you cannot put a timeline on it. Okay. I'll be honest with you. You can't say that I need to do this little step by the end of the month. And if I don't do that, that's a real sign that I'm not going to be able to. No, never put a timeline on it. If you believe in it and you just put that belief out there, put that energy out there, you are going to get in alignment with it, like get into that energy, that same frequency of the goal that you want to obtain. So again, gratitude is a great gift for that. It gives us that elevated energy, that elevated high, and it allows us to align with our goals much quicker. So yeah, that again, put it out there, say that there's no need for it to happen immediately, but I know that if I continue to believe in this and show up with the same sort of energy, then I will it will come to me. Honestly, wholeheartedly believe in that. I truly deeply believe in that. Remember, ask yourself that question. If you're saying I believe in that, like, are you just saying that? Is this just a thought? Or are you taking the time to feel it? Feel the gratitude, feel the feeling of already having it. Are you acting like a person that already has that goal? How would you act if you already had that goal? Are you acting that way right now in your life? And this is why, people talk about reaching like all the wealth in the world. Like they say wealthy people are not, are often not happy. It's because they haven't done the work of being happy prior to stepping into wealth. Because nothing changes once you have the money. Well, sure, yeah, okay, you might be actually living in the place of your dreams or having all the materialistic things around you, beside you. But I'm telling you, like that handbag is not going to make you happy. It might be happy in the moment, but like what brings us happiness, right? To me, it's our health, doing something you're passionate about every day, have a reason for getting up in the morning and having the health to do that and having someone to share it with you. It really, to me, it comes down to three things: having a purpose, having your health in order to carry out that purpose, and being with someone or in a community of people. It doesn't have to be one person to share that with. Can you imagine going through life having amazing health and doing a career that you're incredibly passionate about, and then going home at the end of the day or throughout the day and not sharing that with anybody? So you need all three. You need all three. And my purpose in life is to allow people to have that, to let them know that they can have all three if they live their life with intention. And that means not sleepwalking through life, tapping into what they truly desire and feeling into that desire so that it it manifests, but not putting it on a timeline. So in other words, you kind of have to like, it's like you got to get out of that childlike state, like dream like a child, but don't act like a child in terms of, well, I want it now. I want that chocolate bar now. And start pouting and sitting in the corner by yourself if you don't get that chocolate bar right now at the store. Dream and know that you are 100% deserving of it, and you believe you will have that. Truly believe by acting now like you have what you so desire. So, whatever that dream of yours is, start acting like you have it right now. And then you're going to be aligning to it energetically so that you can receive it back. You'll be able to manifest that so much quicker if you align to it now. So, I sort of think about the analogy of when we think about different frequencies and energies, you know, like people forget that they're just a ball of energy. Like, I mean, energetics, like the science of energetics, like they're vibrating at a certain frequency when you walk into the room. Um, you know, it. If you sit down at a restaurant, you look up at your waiter, your waitress, you either got a good vibe, you got a bad vibe, and they're they're saying the same thing about you. Am I going to enjoy serving this table, or is it going to be a complete nightmare? Um, it's there. You can't deny it. Nature is throwing energy off at you all the time too. It's just sort of like it's all out there. A room colors can in a room. Smells can send off a certain energy too, right? It's everywhere. We can't deny that. So, um, the analogy that I was going to get at, and I like to think of it like this when we're trying to put a timeline on things, is let's say you're trying to tune into your favorite um, radio channel, and you're turning the dial. This is when there were such things called dials on. It's not it's not arrows anymore, but whatever, if you want to use arrows or um yeah. Anyway, I digress. But when you're turning the dial and you're trying to tune in to that radio station. The radio station is on a certain frequency. We don't know how long we're going to have to move that dial back and forth. You might be a millisecond away from finding your favorite radio station or 30 seconds away. That's not up to you. That's that's well, I guess it is if we're thinking I was going to say it's up to the universe, but no. If your intention and your focus and if you're very intentional about your life in terms of how you want to show up every day, what thoughts are you choosing? What feelings are attached to that thought? You're going to be able to find that radio station much sooner than if you mindlessly turning the dial while doing 3,000 other things, at the same time. It's sort of like, you know, when we hear about using your spidey senses, my spidey senses are tingling. It's like I'm tapping in. I'm living with intention. I'm doing life with intention. Everything from having a one-on-one conversation with someone, being focused, being in the present, showing them through eye contact, through body movement, is that this conversation means something to me. I care about what you're saying to me right now. Let me focus and attune into what you're saying. That's being very intentional with your partner or the conversation you're having with that friend. Anybody, even like heck, even the barista, even the grocery store clerk, the guy who's pumping your gas. It's sort of like, how's your day? Like, no, I'm listening to you. How is your day going? That's intentional. Doing a workout, not just going through, you know, the motions, right? It's sort of like, no, I'm working on my bicep right now. I'm intentionally thinking about what my bicep is doing as I lift this weight. How is it being activated? Can I see and feel and sense where it's being activated right now? Mind body connection. How is my heart feeling today? And I don't mean in physical exertion, but I mean with emotional exertion. If I'm going to meditate, am I breathing right now through my heart? Is it heart focused breathing? Can I feel the energy going through my heart? As I take in air and as I release air, what kind of energy am I sending out through my heart right now? And this energy is going out to, the universe, and if it's intentional, loving thoughts towards someone, that person can feel those thoughts across the miles, right? It doesn't, like, proximity goes right out the window when we're talking about things like this. It really, really comes down to feelings. Energetics is all about the feelings. So again, the sequence is I'm thinking something. Okay, is this thought a good feeling thought? Is this thought serving me in my day right now? Or is this a bad feeling thought? If it's a bad feeling thought, am I trying to dismiss the feeling? Can I sit with this feeling? Can I walk along this feeling right now? But I don't want to sit forever with this feeling because that's going to, I don't want to stay stuck in this feeling. I want to move ahead. So, what's a better feeling thought? What's one little micro goal that I can do? How can I show up every day acting and doing what it is that aligns me towards my goal without being on a timeline? When you feel pressured, how well do you work? You might be able to work well for a short period of time, but after a while, you're going to be mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. Why put yourself through that pressure? When you think of it, like it's chronic and it's short pressure. That's why it's there. It's it's to move you quickly, but it's not long lasting. That's not the way you want to go through life under pressure all the time. And most of the time, I mean, you're gonna falter under pressure. No one likes to feel pressured. If you're unmotivated for something, I mean, it's usually because you're overwhelmed. It's sort of things that have been piling up throughout the hours, days, months, and years, and you just feel overwhelmed. So you don't even want to tackle it anymore. But there's a little hot spot there, right? There's a little like there's a special time in that where it's your sweet spot, I guess. It's sort of like it seems challenging, but I believe in myself now that I can move towards that. I can do an an action step. And when you actually see that you've achieved what you're going for, it motivates you. Well, if I can do this, I know it takes the same energy level to do that next goal. So let's move on to the next one now. And you'll see then it's sort of like um, it exponentially increases. It's not it kind of goes at hyper speed then because you're used to it. Like you're just sort of like you're expected because you saw the what the efforts did before and they gave results. So now it doesn't seem as challenging and you live in this expectancy of attainment and abundance, and that becomes addictive. So that really just sums it up for me. I love talking about this, and I will continue talking about this. And you know what? If you're still listening at this point, and you liked what you heard, you like the vibe, you like this idea of propelling yourself towards your desires and attaining them, please take the moment and rate my podcast. I know you hear it all the time. It means a lot, but it really does. It really changes the ranking, and I would very much appreciate it. And also any sort of feedback. It's sort of like, Luella, what you talked about today was okay, but I would like to hear more about this topic more in your podcast. Wonderful. Thank you for the feedback. If you really like this, tell me you want more about this. Would very much appreciate that. It helps me greatly. So until next week, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. And I'll see you here soon. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks once again for joining me on another great episode of I Think I Can podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe below so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And until next week, treat each day like it was your last, because each new day is a privilege that we shan't take for granted. Cheers and have a great week. Bye-bye.